Hellfire role-playing games. Today, in the world of Ter'Ra'Mentia, our new role-playing game, we're going to explore the top half of our character sheet and kind of go into the inhabitants, the playable races of Ter'Ra'Mentia, give you guys a sneak peek for that. So stay tuned every Wednesday for updates as we lead up to our Kickstarter on September 15th. So please follow us and we appreciate your support. We also wanted to let you know that our game is mostly done. We're in the testing and balancing phase with very few elements left to really be added, but the art has a long way to go. So some of the pictures that I show you today are not necessarily what we intend for the races. We poorly threw together some AI art just to give you some visualizations, something to look at while I talk. It's pretty obvious as to which ones were done by our artist. First, we're going to get started with the most prominent race in Ter'Ra'Mentia, the Vikina. They hold the seat of power under the Solar Queen in Sunflow City. The Vikina have fairer skin, black and gold hair that typically they like to wear in braids. They stand around 5.5 feet tall, very muscular, and they appreciate high intelligence as much as they appreciate somebody being very physically capable. If you're going to lead in the Vikina, both traits are preferable. The Vikina have many powerful houses led by what they call magisters. And these magisters can lean more to the physically strong side or more to the intelligent, but the most prominent houses, like we said, will have both. When it comes to gameplay, the Vikina boast some of the higher damage in the game, as they can have additional damage when they have a successful critical strike with magic or with martial weapons. They also gain an extra non-weapon or armor specialization. Next we have the Vikasha, the cousins of the Vikina that come from the Shifting Wilds and the Sage Fortress. They stand slightly taller than their brethren from Sunflow City. They also boast two-tone hair as well. Their two-tone hair, instead, is typically a hued red or dirty blonde against their slightly tan light green skin. They also typically have eyes that are green or hazel. The Vikasha have homeland knowledge of the Shifting Wilds and are very clever at navigating it. The true keepers of the Shifting Wilds, as many of their druids and hunters help shape the land as the forest shifts around them. They're very quick and can be very elusive. They also have some of the wisdom of their ancestral hunters and gain the ability to summon an ethereal weapon of their choice. We also have the Savan. The Savan currently, for the most part, reside in the Shifting Wilds. Of course, all races can be found anywhere throughout Ter'Ra'Mentia, especially in Sunflow City. But the Savan lost part of their homeland to a Draconum invasion at the Siloa ruins, where their capital once stood. Since then, a majority of them have made their home within the Shifting Wilds, although some do remain. Savan are a shorter race, but they're large in heart and cunning. They stand around 4 to 4.5 feet tall on average with slender builds. They're truly unique and beautiful with deep green skin, so deep it can almost be ebony sometimes. They also have elvish ears and an auburn or sometimes green hair. Their bright yellow cat-like eyes stand out against their deep green-colored skin. They're naturally curious beings and very common in all professions. They do have natural gifts, which gives them bonuses to sneaking and awareness. They're extremely good at hiding, and they have a strong heritage, a strong kinship. Over to the Midnight Fortress in Axia City in the Shadowed Mountains, nestled high atop near the Glimmering Falls and below the peak of Darktop Mountain. The Axian make their home. The Axian are shorter in stature, 4 to 4.5 feet in average, but they're extremely sturdy and muscular. They have shimmering diamond-like skin that is not actually stone or gem of any kind, and neither are their silver eyes, but they do like to boast and brag on occasion that their skin is as hard as stone, and indeed, it might be tougher than other races. Making their home high in the mountains and deep within tunnels, they have learned to master the shaping of stone. Something inherent to their race is being a stone shaper. They're a defensible people that boast very high fortitude. Originally hailing from Colossal Salt Rise, the tribal mortals now make their home in the Ravaged Prominence. They're known for their Reaver warriors and blood shamans. These nomadic humans stand some over 6 feet tall, very tan skin and dark hair, indicative of where they come from in the desert, in the Sea of Hope, where no hope lies. Their capital is Breator Hold. They are not officially under the rule of the Solar Queen in Ter'Ra'Mentia, but they're allowed to make their home just in between the lands of Ter'Ra'Mentia and the Colossal Salt Rise, where the Red Draconum live. The Solar Queen sees them as a nice buffer and an extra layer of defense. Their stature can be intimidating, but they also are a very resilient people, surviving many wars. Along with their Reaver blood, they boast a high health pool and are able to kind of spend spirit as if it were mana and mana as if it were spirit. Terra Mortals are the same humans. It's just more of a term that is used for the humans that are living in the cities of Ter'Ra'Mentia. Their adaptability, though, allows them extra specializations. As well as being clanless, they're very good at fast talking and higher negotiation. Then we have the Draconum. There are many different colors and kinds and races of Draconum. For our book here, we've focused on the red and the gold. The Draconum that live in Dragonport near the Flaming Fortress are the ones that did not defect centuries ago. The red Draconum in Colossal Salt Rise, coming from Sharlaea and Jadora Gate, are not well received in Ter'Ra'Mentia. Due to their many invasions, their inhumane morals when it comes to labor, and the fact that they purposefully separated themselves so long ago. The red Draconum stands 6 to 7 feet tall. Born of dragon blood in ancient times, it's not clear how the Draconum came to be, but it is clear their worship of dragons is very strong. The red Draconum have a multitude of racial benefits. This includes Draconic Reason, getting bonus to sanity checks. Red Draconum heritage allows them to summon a flaming whip, as well as their evil ancestry and Draconum scales. Gold Draconum, mostly living in Dragonport and tending to the Flaming Fortress these days, are known as great protectors. They also have Draconic Reason, getting bonus to sanity checks. They have a Gold Draconum heritage, which allows them to shield themselves or allies, and are resistant to fire damage as well. This is a very brief look at some of the inhabitants of Ter'Ra'Mentia. I know we were very specific about where some of these races were from, but the truth is many races can be found all over Ter'Ra'Mentia, especially in Sunflow City. It's a large metropolitan area that includes everyone. Now let's do a sneak peek at the top portion of our character sheet, used at character creation. We think it's very cool and hope you do too. As you can see at the top, we start with your character's name, the race, the class you've chosen, what level you are, and how much movement you have. These things are all very standard in most all role-playing games. But right at the top is where we get started with what sets us apart. We have 2 columns here, one of life force and one of mind. So the life force and mind are known as core attributes. Life force and mind can both directly affect your spirit and mana pools, as well as other things. Just under them, we have the main attributes. Strength, finesse, and vitality all funnel under life force. Intellect, wits, and sanity all fall under the mind core attribute. To the right, we have our sanity counter. Each time a character would fail a sanity check, they gain a counter, along with detrimental effects with it. If they go all the way to the end, they may go fully insane. Just underneath our main attributes, we have defense, speed, and health. Your defense number is how hard you are to hit. It's finesse plus 12, plus any armor that you may be wearing, or spells or active effects. Your speed is how fast you're going to go in a combat encounter. That is determined by your finesse plus wits. So you can be quick in a combat encounter with your mind or with your body or both. Health is going to be based off your vitality plus your class base. Each time you level up, you will gain your class base plus your vitality number. Underneath defense, speed, and health, we have fortitude, spirit power, and willpower. Fortitude is calculated by your life force plus vitality. Fortitude represents your hardiness, and this number will be used in die rolls of that nature. Then we have spirit power. By default, it is life force plus strength, unless the class you have chosen specifies a class attribute to use in place of strength. This number can be used when making attacks or feats of that nature that specifically call for a spirit power check. In the event someone is trying to resist an effect caused by your spirit power, then they have to beat a number on a die roll that is equal to this left-hand box you see here. That number is 12 plus your spirit power. That is a target for someone to resist your spirit power. Willpower is calculated very similar to spirit power. The default is mind plus intellect, or class attribute. For example, if you're an arcane scholar, you will do mind plus intellect, as intellect is your class attribute. If you're a solar witch and wits is your class attribute, you would add mind plus wits instead of using the intellect. That number goes to the left, and just like spirit power, you add that number plus 12 to get the target for this little box. That will be used when someone is trying to resist effects of your willpower. Now we have spirit and mana. Spirit and mana both are equal to your life force and mind, plus whatever your starting class bonus is. These two resource pools are very important. They are used to fuel your special abilities, unique actions, and spells. And back up at the top, we have action points. Action points are critical. On your turn in combat, you have a certain amount of action points to spend. All characters begin with 2 action points. At higher levels, they go up to 3. Certain abilities and actions have a cost to them, anywhere between 1 and 3 action points. This has been a very, very brief sneak peek at what we have to come. We hope you enjoyed it. Again, please follow us. We appreciate your support. We'll be launching our Kickstarter September 15th. And be on the lookout every Wednesday for more sneak peeks. Next week, we're going to start with classes.